Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of Tractor Talk. On today's episode we're going to discuss why I use antique tractors in our operation and why I feel that if you have a small operation like ours, antique tractors may be a good fit for you. I've had several people ask me over the years why I use these old tractors instead of buying a newer, more modern piece of equipment. And I've even had some people tell me that these things are useless, that people just don't have a use for them, that a new modern diesel tractor will work circles around it. Granted, yes, they probably will, but for a small operation, you don't really need all that. I mean, this tractor here is a 1949 Farmall C, and this is my main working tractor, guys. I mean, I use this thing all the time. We pull trailers with it, we pull wagons with it, we run during the summer, we do all of our mowing with this tractor. It's most of the time during the summer, that brush beater doesn't get unhooked from the back of this thing. It is right now because I left it in town. I had to bring this out and use it to do some stuff around here the other day. But most of the time, that brush beater, in the spring, I hook it up and it stays hooked up all through the summer and into the fall. So, one of the main reasons, other than the fact that I just like old antique tractors, but one of the main reasons that I use these is the cost of them. I mean, you price a new John Deere, or new Kubota, New Holland, whatever your brand of choice may be, you're looking at several $1,000s just to buy one. And most of us, small operations, we don't have that kind of money laying around. So then that involves having to finance the machine. I don't know what a payment on a new tractor would be, but I bet it would be pretty close to what I paid for this tractor. I bought this tractor 3 years ago and I gave $700 cash money for it. And it was running and driving. I mean, I bought it from my grandmother. They'd had it about a year, but the guy she bought it from, he was still farming with it. So it was turnkey, ready to go. And $700, I got me a tractor that's perfectly capable of doing everything that I need to do around here. I would venture to say a payment on a new one would be between $500 and $700. So, I mean, I'm saving the cost of this tractor per month by using it instead of buying a new one. Cost of operation. I mean, this old tractor here, it runs on gas. Hi, Sonny. What are you doing, bub? What are you doing? Oh, thanks. Needed that. Got a lot of farm dogs. Anyway, what I was saying, just cost of operation. I mean, gas is around here, it's like $2.89 a gallon right now. Diesel's up there around $3.29, $3.39. So, and I can fill this thing up with gas. I got water all over me. I can fill this thing up with gas and mow all day long. Cost me $20 to fill it. Cost of maintenance. This thing, when it comes time to change oil, I change oil in it about once a year, usually in the spring before we get started with it. 5 quarts of oil and a filter. Plus a little bit of oil for the oil bath air filter. I don't have to buy, there's no fuel filter, clean the sediment bowl out. Oil filter at Napa, I think the last one I bought was $15, $20 maybe. Gallon plus a quart of Rotella, 1540, that's what I run in them. And I run that in my pickup as well, so I've always got oil out here. A gallon of Rotella is $25, $30, I think, at the farm store. You get into the newer diesel tractors, and you're looking at probably $300 or $400 just to service one. Them air filters for them new tractors are $100, some of them. Fuel filters are $50 or $60. Oil and filter, run the same oil in them, but it holds a lot more of it. So that's another advantage to them. Cost of repairs. I mean, guys, I put this starter right here behind me on it 2 years ago and ordered it online. I think that starter cost me $120 with shipping to get it here. You go price a starter for a new diesel tractor, and you better sit down when you do it because they're high. Just cost of repairs in general. I mean, if you've got to overhaul one, go price overhauling a new diesel engine on a newer tractor. You're going to be up there several $1,000s. And aside from machine work, you know, if you have to have the heads done or crank turned or anything like that, I mean, I can overhaul this thing, complete overhaul kit with bearings, sleeves, pistons, rings, everything, $400 or $500. So for a small operation, it makes a lot of sense. Now there are some cons to these old tractors. I'm not gonna say there isn't. This particular tractor does have live hydraulics. A lot of these old ones don't. That Farm All In sitting behind me over here, it does not have live hydraulics. Neither one of them have live power takeoff. And that can be a issue, but you can work around it. You know, main thing is on these old ones, if you're gonna, especially mowing, put an overrunning clutch on your PTO shaft. That way when you push in the clutch to stop, you know, that brush beater acts as a flywheel and it's gonna keep turning. When you disengage the clutch, that thing's gonna keep pushing you. So, you know, put an overrunning clutch on it and that'll prevent that. So you don't run through the fence. I came close to doing that a time or two. You know, just overall the cost of them is just, it makes sense. Guys, if you're a small operation, you don't need a, you know, large tractor. I mean, we use this one mostly just for chores. We don't do any farming right now. We may in the future. You know, right now we're just a cow operation, but you know, this is our main chore tractor. But I've got friends that farm up to 80 acres and do it all with, you know, old tractors. I've got one friend of mine, he farms all his ground with 2-cylinder John Deeres from the late 50s, you know, like 720s, 730s, those particular models. So if you can find one of these and you're mechanically inclined to, you know, 'cause, I mean, they require a little more maintenance. You know, you're gonna have to, you're not just gonna be able to jump on it and go. You know, it takes a little tinkering once in a while to keep them up and running. And this tractor, it throws a little fit every once in a while, a little tuning on it. We're back to running again. You know, I just had to adjust the points the other day. It was running a little rough. Point gap, you know, they were getting a little, so I reset them, cleaned them up a little, but, you know, it probably could use a set of plugs and wires. I haven't done that since I bought it. You know, they're a cheap way to get a tractor to run with your operation. And there are several options you can use. I mean, I'm an international guy. I prefer Farm All, and this is my main go-to tractor. We've got that M back there we're going to get running and use it for some of our heavier duty chores if we need it. But you know, this little tractor here is lightweight. It's easy to haul if we need to take it to town to mow our pasture in town or whatever. Load it up on the car trailer, away we go. You know, them newer tractors, it takes a lot bigger trailer to haul them on just because of the sheer weight of them. So that's another reason I like these old ones. Plus, this tractor here, it works all through the year, but I mean, we take it, it's not the prettiest thing. Hopefully one of these days we'll change that, but you know, we take it, put it in parades. We had it in a parade last month, right here in town. There'll be another one coming up here in a couple weeks we're gonna take it to. We take it to tractor shows, and we enjoy that. I mean, tractor shows are a lot of fun, and you meet a lot of really nice people. Parts for some models can be hard to find. I'm not gonna lie, they can be. a lot of the more popular models, you can still go to a dealer and get a lot of parts for them. I mean, you can still go to a CNH dealer and get parts for this tractor. Not everything, but you can get a lot of parts for them. A lot of bearings and stuff you can still get. And what you can't get through the dealer, you can get from Napa. Is a good place to get a lot of stuff. I buy a lot of bearings, ignition parts. I buy all my ignition parts from Napa. You know, you can get what you can't get there. Steiner Tractor is a great resource. Yesterday's Tractor, Allstate's Ag Parts. They've got a lot of good stuff. I mean, you can get a lot of parts for these still, and for a fraction of the cost of buying parts for a new one. You know, and if you're mechanically inclined, with a basic set of hand tools, you can rebuild one of these. You know, you don't have to have any special diagnostic tools, any special tools to, you know, do anything with them. I mean, with a basic set of wrenches and sockets, you could do, I'd venture to say, probably 90% of the repairs that you'd ever have to do on this tractor. And not have to have a degree in computer science to figure out what's wrong with it. I mean, just that alone saves money, because, you know, most people don't have access to the proper computers and software to diagnose them, or if you're like me, you don't understand how all that works. So if we had a new tractor out here and it went down, I'd have to call the dealer to come out and look at it, or load it up and take it to them. And that's a pretty big expense, just having them diagnose it. And once they diagnose it, if they tell me what's wrong with it, I could probably fix it. Excuse me. But just the cost of having a diagnosis done on it. You know, I can do a little bit of tinkering with one of these. I can diagnose what's going on with it. And then we order the parts, we fix it. So if you guys have got a small operation, look into one of these old tractors. You know, it doesn't have to be a farm haul like this. One of the most popular little tractors for, you know, chore tractors, mowing, blading the driveway, you know, dirt work, stuff like that, is the little N-series Fords. You know, the 9N, 2N, 8N series. The 8Ns are a little more popular. They've got a few more features than the 9 and 2N do. They've got the 4-speed transmission. They've got position control on the 3-point. That is another thing. A lot of these older tractors, you're not going to have the advantage of a 3-point hitch. You know, this one doesn't have it. It's just got a drawbar back there. Doesn't affect for what I use it for. But, you know, the 9N, 2N, 8N series, you know, the Fords, they've got the 3-point hitch. And I've had one. In fact, I've got part of one right now I'm trying to finish getting rid of. But before I bought this tractor, my main mowing tractor out there where I lived was an 8N Ford. And it served me well. I never have been a fan of the Ford tractors. But, you know, a lot of people are, and they are very handy tractors. You know, you can get one of them, you can pick up a good running 8N Ford for, well, I think I bought that one at auction, at a consignment auction. I give $1,400 for it, and it was turnkey, ready to go. You know, then I bought a brush beater for it, a little 4-foot brush beater. I think I give $50 or $75 for it. A buddy of mine had it in the fence row. And that's not, you know, implements for them. You don't need the big fancy new implements either. You know, I've got the mower that I pull behind this tractor is a Service E60 5-foot pole type beater. And it did have hydraulic lift on it. Cylinder was gone on when I got it, and I didn't ever put one back on because this tractor, it's got live hydraulics for the rock shafts, but it doesn't have a remote valve on it, so I don't have any hydraulics at the rear. What I did, I just took a top link for a 3-point, went to the farm store, bought a top link, and I welded 2 pins in where the old hydraulic cylinder went, and I put that top link in there. Like $50 at the farm store, and you know, you can't raise it and lower it on the go, You can, you get kind of set what height you want to mow at, just take a pipe wrench and turn that top link in or out, raise and lower that mower. And I give $50 for that beater. It needs some work. We're gonna get it in here this winter. Put some new blades on it and rebuild the gearbox. It's got a seal out in it, so if you put oil in it, it just runs out on the ground. I just pack it full of grease. Been doing that for 3 years now. It works fine. But it does everything I need it to do. Now, I'm not saying they're a good fit for everybody. If you're not mechanically inclined, then by all means, don't buy one of these, because you're gonna pull your hair out once in a while working on it. But if you like to tinker and you're mechanically inclined, most people on a farm, especially a small farm, hobby farm, whatever, they are. Most people know how to at least turn a wrench and fix basic issues. I'm not saying that, everybody knows how to completely overhaul an engine, but you can, fix basic things that are wrong with it. So I would recommend these to anybody. They're a lot of fun. I mean, there's nothing, to me anyway, there's nothing more enjoyable than coming home after work. We come out here and Courtney will go out and mess with the cows, do whatever she's gonna do, and I'll fire this thing up and do a little mowing. That's my relaxation time. To me, there's nothing sweeter than sitting in that seat and mowing the pasture out here and listening to this 4-cylinder engine through that straight pipe exhaust. There's just nothing sweeter. I love it. It's my relaxation. And I enjoy coming out here and just tinkering on them, seeing if I can get them running. And that's another thing. I mean, I got this tractor pretty cheap. Family deal, My grandma, she gave me a pretty good deal on it. She gave it to me for what she paid for it. But these tractors, you go pick one up like this, you can $1,500, $2,000 for a ready to go one. But if you don't mind putting a little work into it, I mean, that M I've got back there, we pulled it out of a barn been longer than that. It's been probably 5 years ago. We pulled that M out of a barn. It'd been sitting for 10, 15 years without running. We pulled it out of the barn and brought it home. I bought it from a good friend of mine, fellow tractor collector. He's since passed on, but I traded him some work for it. I don't remember what we agreed on the price on it, but I just helped him out around his place and we did some trading on it. And it wasn't running. I brought it home, we put a carburetor kit in it and set of points and condenser in the distributor, and I was mowing the yard with it there at the house. I had a place on 11 acres at that time, and I was mowing that 11 acres with it 2 days later after we brought it home. So, for very little cost. But, they're not for everybody. I know they're not. And you guys out there, you want to go buy a new tractor? Hey, if it fits your operation, go for it. If you don't want to sit out there and mow your pasture, if you're a hobby farmer and you're farming 15, 20, 30 acres, and you don't want to get all dusty and dirty and sweaty and stinky and all that good stuff, one of these probably isn't for you. If you want to have a cab with air conditioning and all that, they're probably not for you. Now, that's not saying there's not older tractors that would be. You get a little more modern than this, you still don't need a brand new tractor. You can get a John Deere 4020 or a 06 Series International or whatever, and you can get them with a cab on them, and they've got coolers in them. I used to work for a guy here locally when I was in high school that he had new tractors too. He had a pretty large operation, but one of his tractors he had that was my favorite tractor to run was an old 4020 with a cab and a swamp cooler on top of it. I loved it. he had two of them. He had another 4020 that was on propane with no cab on it. That's what we pulled the manure spreader with. Now, that wasn't much fun. You'd be going back and forth spreading manure all day, and hot Oklahoma wind out here coming out of the south. When you'd be headed north, you'd have all that old stinky manure dust blowing on top of you, and then you turn around and head back south thinking you're going to get some relief from that. You had that old stinky propane exhaust blowing in your face, but I still enjoyed it. I would rather run it than his new tractor that he had at the time. But you can get pretty good deals on even those. I mean, a 4020 is going to cost you 15 to 20,000 probably nowadays. I hadn't priced one recently, but I know they went way up. But you still don't have all the electronics. You don't have all the emissions nonsense to deal with. You don't have to put DEF in them. We won't even get started on that. But they're a good fit for smaller farms. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, was just why I use these, the pros and cons of them. The main pros that I can think of is easiness of operation, or not operation, easiness of repair, cost of repair, cost of operation, the initial cost of buying said machine, and that's about it. I mean, the cons of them, yes, there's no air conditioner, there's no cab, you're gonna get dirty when you're up on them. That's just part of it. No GPS. A lot of people nowadays, they like to farm with that GPS. My boss, he's got a John Deere with all that in it. I got in it the other day to move it there at the shop. Like a damn spaceship in there. I couldn't even hardly figure out how to start the stupid thing. And I darn sure wouldn't know how to operate that big computer screen with all that GPS and all that in it. Don't have a need for it out here. No live power, no live hydraulics on a lot of these old ones. That can be an issue, but there's ways to work around it. So I mean, I'm not saying they're for everybody, but they can be handy. And like I said, this little tractor here, I love it. We use it for everything out here. It's lightweight, it's nimble, I can mow, especially with this tricycle front. If I'm out in the pasture mowing and I come up by a tree or something, I can just go right around it. That M back there, it's got a wide front on it. You better have 40 acres to turn that thing around. But with this thing, I mean, you practically turn around on top of itself. So these are very handy for little mowing tractors. Just chores around if you've got a small farm or just a homestead even. If you've got a place with 10 acres out in the country and you need something to mow with, hey, look into one of these. I mean, that's why I bought this originally. I had 5 acres on the place where I was living at the time, there around my house. 5 acres is a lot of ground. I had a wheel horse C81 at the time that we mowed with some, but it, 36-inch cut at a time on a little garden tractor, that takes a while to mow 5 acres. And I could mow it a lot faster with this one. I've had several of these old tractors. They're handy, cheap to operate. I've probably talked long enough here, but I just kind of wanted to touch base on that, maybe answer some questions people have had about why I choose to use these. Why I think that it may be a good fit for you. If it is, hey, start looking for one. I mean, Facebook Marketplace, you can find them. A lot of local auctions, once in a while one of them will pop up there. You can get some pretty good deals at auctions. You can also way overpay for one at an auction, so you got to be careful. But, look into them, guys. If you think it's something that'd fit for you, look into it. So anyway, that's episode 1 of Tractor Talk. Hope y'all enjoyed it. We'll be back next month about the same time, probably right around the 1st of the month. Not sure what that month's topic of discussion will be. We'll find something to sit down here and talk about for a while. So I want to thank y'all for watching. And if you like the video, you know where the like button is. If you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more stuff like this, or tractor repair videos, stuff out in the pasture with the cows, farm work, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell too, so you know when we post new videos. We try to upload fairly regularly. It's been pretty hot out here this summer, so we hadn't done a whole lot, but it's starting to cool off now, so maybe we can get out here and get some more work done. Anyway, I want to thank y'all again for watching, and we'll see you next time.